With her slender, snow-white fingers, Josephine opened the sealed envelope. The love-struck Napoleon sent her passionate letters endlessly. "Don't wash, I'm coming," was written in the final lines, and a few days later, Napoleon triumphantly returned to Paris, where Josephine awaited him. This popular story about Napoleon and Josephine is likely just a legend. Over time, the phrase was attributed varying timelines, sometimes 3 days, sometimes 8, even as many as 15. "Don't wash, I'm on my way." This phrase only appeared in print in the mid-20th century, specifically in 1967, and many historians consider it a fabrication. According to other versions, it may have been uttered by King Henry IV of France to one of his mistresses, either Gabrielle d'Estrées or Henriette d'Entragues. Reportedly, he asked his beloved to avoid bathing for 4 days. That seems more plausible, given that Henry loved garlic and was known to burst into the chambers of his wives or mistresses, straight from military campaigns without bathing. Napoleon, however, was actually a rather cleanly man for his time. Contrary to the widespread trends of the 18th and 19th centuries to avoid frequent washing, he regularly took long hot baths. Hot water was constantly added to maintain the desired temperature. Napoleon considered personal hygiene an important part of his life, especially while in residence. Though he wore strong cologne, it was not to mask filth, but simply due to his love of fragrance. His morning ritual included not only a bath, but also careful shaving, brushing his teeth, and using various grooming products. Napoleon even had a special nécessaire for hygiene that included a toothbrush, razors, nail scissors, and bottles of cologne. This kit followed him even on military campaigns. Though the letter to Josephine may be apocryphal, it reflects Napoleon's attitude toward natural scents. At the time, it was believed that natural body odors could enhance marital desire. Hygiene was far from modern standards, yet Napoleon was more the exception than the rule. He loved the scent of cologne and cared about his appearance, something that could not be said for many of his contemporaries. According to another version, overly clean women were thought to have lower chances of conceiving, and Napoleon longed for an heir. Letter number 439, General Correspondence of Napoleon Bonaparte. I have not passed a day without writing to you. I have not drunk a cup of tea without cursing the glory and ambition that separate me from the soul of my life. Amidst affairs, at the head of armies, while traveling through camps, my adored Josephine, the solitude in my heart occupies my mind and consumes my thoughts. Josephine, who came from the French colony of Martinique, may have adopted certain body care practices from the local culture. She used various oils and fragrances, which at the time were seen as signs of refinement and high status. Josephine was also well known for her love of perfume, using it not only on herself but also to scent the home. One of her favorite scents was that of roses. She grew roses in her garden at Malmaison and frequently used essential oils derived from them. Additionally, Josephine favored fragrances with notes of musk, jasmine, and patchouli, all popular among women of that era. In her bathing quarters at Malmaison, there were cast iron or copper tubs, which were typical among the wealthy at the time. Josephine also supported French perfumers. Her favorite was François Rancé, who created a fragrance called L'Impératrice, especially for her. Jean-François also developed several compositions in honor of Napoleon Bonaparte, Le Vainqueur, L'Eau d'Austerlitz, and La Gloire à l'Aigle Français. So, if Napoleon ever did write such an unusual letter to Josephine, it likely had little to do with poor hygiene, and more to do with his particular preferences after a long separation, or perhaps with his aversion to the rose scents Josephine loved, but Napoleon found off-putting.